Hi. Have to pick up?
Oh, you didn't get Apple Care with it?
No, I didn't. It's got the iPhone 15 Plus. Now the question is, should I unbox it here or give you guys a cinematic unboxing at home?
I've been on go since a kid. Now I got house full of kids. Where I keep when you're sick. Keep making that money flip. I've been on go since a kid. Now I got house full of kids. Where I keep when you're sick. Keep making that money flip. Way up. Pick it up, pick it up.
It's kind of wild to say, but I never thought I'd be holding a plus-size iPhone in my hands. I've always sort of had a grudge against this phone, mainly for killing off the iPhone mini lineup, which if you guys didn't know by now is hands down my favorite iPhone of all time. I really can't comprehend why Apple decided to kill off the mini. Apple is a $1 trillion company, and sure, maybe the iPhone 13 mini wasn't selling like hotcakes, but for a user like myself to at least have the option to purchase the mini would have been nice. I would have loved to see a lineup that went from the Pro Max all the way to the mini. If that were the case, right now I'd be holding an iPhone 15 mini over an iPhone 15 Plus any day of the week. But as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. But before I'm fully able to accept this as fact, I had to know what kind of data-driven decision making drives a company as big as Apple to kill off a product after just 2 years. And then it hit me. What better person to ask than my wife, who I keep forgetting is a marketing professor and a data scientist. Hey professor, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So this is the iPhone 15 Plus, this is the iPhone 13 mini, and Apple killed off the iPhone 13 mini after just 2 years of launching it. So why do you think Apple killed off the iPhone 13 mini and decided to go with the phone like the iPhone 15 Plus?
Well, first of all, how do you not know the answer to this? You've sat in on so many of my lectures. Okay. Well, I mean, a company as big as Apple, they probably would have done extensive market research, right? So they would have done consumer research and collected customer insights.
Yeah.
So talk to their existing customers to see their preferences, their likes, their dislikes, their attitudes, their motivations, and so forth. But they probably would have also done some sort of like competitive analysis or a SWOT analysis to understand like current markets, trends, demands, and if there's competition out there doing similar things that they felt that they needed to compete against.
I have one more question.
Okay.
What are you cooking?
I'm making your favorite noodles.
Noodles? Okay. I've been using the iPhone 15 Plus as my main phone now for about 2 weeks, and surprisingly, I was completely wrong about this phone. For starters, the Plus size is give or take $400 cheaper than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. At least that's the price difference here in Canada, making this the only iPhone on the market for people who want to get a larger display without all the unnecessary bells and whistles of going Pro. Right off the bat, you notice the weight of this device. Surprisingly, it's super light for a phone of this size, coming in at 201 grams. In comparison, the iPhone 15 Pro Max weighs 221 grams. A 20-gram difference may not sound like much, but it's noticeable when it comes to day-to-day usage. In your pockets, you barely notice the iPhone 15 Plus thanks to its weight. In the hands, it sort of feels like a toy, but in a good way. The curved edges this year make it much easier to handle. When kicking back and watching shows, your hands don't get fatigued as quickly. And of course, inevitably, like we've all pretty much experienced, when you drop this phone on your face, the pain is at least tolerable. If you've ever dropped an iPhone Pro Max on your face, you know just how painful it can be.
Keep making that money flip.
If you're coming to the Plus from say like an iPhone 11, 12, or even a 13, the size of this device will definitely take some getting used to. Depending on how big your hands are, typing one-handed with this device is a struggle. I managed to get by without dropping my phone, but it's still a struggle for me to quickly reply to messages and emails. I decided to purchase the iPhone 15 Plus in black. I just love the way this matte finish looks on the back. The coating of this finish also ensures that you don't get any fingerprints on this device. That is of course if you choose to rock this phone naked without a case. The iPhone 15 Plus gives you a bigger phone without all the heft of the Pro Max, which I feel like a lot of people out there are in search of. This display is actually gorgeous. Scrolling social media, watching shows, talking to a family member on FaceTime and such is such a pleasurable experience. The display peaks at 2000 nits, the same as the iPhone 15 Pro Max. The dual firing speakers are plenty loud and offer great clarity at max volume. And throughout the years, dynamic island has really grown on me, which the iPhone 15 Plus does have. Thanks to iOS 17, you get features like standby mode. My entire house now is littered with MagSafe stands, because quite honestly, standby mode is such a useful feature. This is quite literally my alarm clock now, and it's nice to have a big visible display in the middle of the night to check in on the time and whatnot. What you are missing though is 120Hz refresh rate, which to me is kind of ridiculous that a $900 phone doesn't come with at least 90Hz in 2024. But in all fairness, people like my parents are not going to care or even notice for that matter. They just want a big display and a long-lasting battery, which Apple knows, and that's the kind of market that this phone is catered towards. I just feel like if that's the case, then this phone should be at least $100 cheaper, but it's not. However, if you've never experienced Dynamic Island before, it's sort of like multitasking on an iPhone. It's super useful for so many things without actually having to open up the app. You can check in on the status of your Uber delivery. It's useful if you have a timer set up. If you're crazy enough to rely on Apple Maps, you can check in on the direction you're heading, all without going into each and every app. Dynamic Island has really grown on me, and you guys will love it if you have never experienced it before. Okay, so now let's get into all the juicy stuff, and by juicy I mean the battery. One of the biggest advantages of rocking a bigger phone with a 60Hz display is that the battery life will be outstanding. The iPhone 15 Plus is without a doubt the best battery iPhone I have ever used. Getting just 1 full days of usage out of any phone impresses me, but the iPhone 15 Plus is next level. On occasion, I've actually been able to go 3 full days without charging this phone, which I've personally never experienced before on any other smartphone. If you care about nothing else and you just want a phone with a long-lasting battery, this is the phone to get. The screen on times don't get much better than this. I'm usually always connected to a 5G network for at least a third of my day, so to still be able to get 11 or even 12 hours of screen on time per day is absolutely nuts. My usage is pretty intense, a lot of gaming, a lot of YouTube, a lot of Telegram and Twitter, and on some days I use the camera a ton to record shots for YouTube videos like this one. So yeah, the battery life is impressive, much better than I expected. I spend a lot of my time in coffee shops and cafes. I have a hard time honing in and just focusing at home. So naturally, when I'm working in coffee shops, I take advantage of the free Wi-Fi, but not without some serious precautions. This is where NordVPN comes in. NordVPN's mission is to make the internet better than it is today. They want their users to be free from online threats, censorships, and surveillance. With a single click, you get access to the fastest VPN on the planet and instantly become safer online. I actually fully believe in NordVPN's mission. And in 2024, guys, you guys should definitely be using a VPN, and here's why. Now, we all know VPNs are great when it comes to catching up on your favorite shows while traveling without any interruptions, but that's not even the half of it. This is where you want to be careful. It's called the man-in-the-middle attack. Okay, so I'm surfing the web at my local cafe, so I connect to the cafe's free Wi-Fi network without thinking about it. But it's a trap. It's a fake network set up as part of a quote-unquote evil twin man-in-the-middle attack. While you're browsing, criminals will harvest sensitive data you enter into unencrypted websites. The solution is simple. Encrypt your online traffic and data with NordVPN at all times to stay protected. Another common scam is the phishing scheme. Lives have totally been shattered by this one. I actually know a few people in my personal life that have gone through this, and I don't wish this upon anyone. It's always better to be safe than sorry. In this scenario, scammers pretend to be someone you trust, like a bank, friend, or even a popular influencer like myself. Without thinking, you enter your bank details onto a fake website. We've all experienced this before. You get a link sent to you telling you to take urgent action. You click on the link, enter your bank details, and then you get cooked. NordVPN recognizes malicious links and websites instantly and warns you to stay away from them. These are just a few examples of the way NordVPN can prevent you from getting cooked. NordVPN can also prevent password attacks, protect you from DDoS scenarios, you get malware protection. It also helps you detect malvertising schemes and also protects you from ransomware. I honestly believe NordVPN is worth the investment. Right now, Nord has a special offer. Use my link nordvpn.com/rjtech and you'll get 4 months extra on a 2-year plan. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Try it out and let me know how you guys like it. And yeah, thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Gaming on this phone is also pretty great, despite sporting a 60Hz refresh rate. Although when it comes to games like Call of Duty or even Wild Rift, you'll notice the missing refresh rates. Playing those kind of games is not as smooth in comparison to a phone like the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But if you play pretty static games that don't require a lot of FPS, then the iPhone 15 Plus is an absolute killer. The A16 Bionic chipset is a great chipset. This one also has a good amount of RAM, so games will fly on this device. On the back, you get a dual camera setup. You get a 48 megapixel main sensor that's different from the ones used on the iPhone 14 Pro series. There's also a new quad pixel sensor, which enables 2x telephoto zoom via the main lens. Technically, this is nothing more than a cropped image, but it gets the job done. Next to the main sensor is a 12 megapixel ultra wide, although I would have preferred a dedicated telephoto. The cameras on the back do stick out a bit, but nowhere as deep as the lenses on the 15 Pro series. The main sensor is outstanding, capturing great photos in all sorts of conditions. The Plus captures excellent details and accurate colors. The HDR effect in photos has also improved. They look much more true to life now. It doesn't aggressively boost the exposure in the shadows, nor does it go to the extreme of toning down the highlights. I didn't expect the iPhone 15 Plus to be this good at taking pictures with the main camera. I suggest you capture pictures at 48 megapixels despite the larger size. You'll have a lot more flexibility later on to apply a crop or zoom without detail loss. In the video department, the iPhone 15 Plus is stuck at 4K 60 FPS, which isn't a bad thing. This resolution is perfect for videos. Footage is filled with detail, smooth pan shots, and generous exposure compensation, even when the lighting outdoors abruptly changes. 4K 60 stabilization looks great. This is the microphone on the iPhone 15 Plus. This is what I sound like. And there you guys have it, my honest thoughts on why I was wrong about the iPhone 15 Plus. This is an exceptional phone, and if I weren't a tech YouTuber, this would be my go-to device. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure you guys do check out today's sponsor, NordVPN. I honestly think it's worth the investment. And if you made it to the end of this video, drop a dolphin emoji down in the comments below. I would love to know who my true supporters are. And of course, don't forget to flex with your plus size tech.